Hello, everybody. Welcome to the NETIKA commentary special of the Let's Make Music live stream. This time around with a very special guest, KJ VALIUM. How's it going, man?
Howdy, I'm wonderful. How we doing?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. We were talking a little bit before, but yeah. uh,
Let's
Anybody
see.
here
It
yet?
it's not showing up on my app.
Oh, it's not. Let's see.
Yeah, it still says offline. Oh, now it's live. Okay, never mind. You're good.
Okay, cool, cool. All right, well, what's up, everybody? This is again the NETIKA commentary special of the Let's Make Music live stream. Coming at you live from Las Vegas personally, and do you mind if I tell them what you're based out of?
Yeah, you could jazz me up. Go for it.
All right, cool, cool. Yeah, and KJ Valium coming to you from Phoenix, Arizona. And yeah. So this is gonna be a lot of fun. I'm not gonna waste a lot of your guys' time. Just to start this off, even though I would just like to go over a couple of things. We're going to be putting out a couple of new releases for the end of this month in the and December on the New Odyssey Records. So stay tuned for that. But y'all know the drill. That's the new Odyssey Records.bandcamp.com. Just go listen to the music. It's really good stuff. Trust me. But without further ado, I think we can get started. At least like starting to talk about the record before we play the first song. Any like overall thoughts that you want to give from you personally, KJ, about like the record, just in general before we start delving into individual songs?
Um, Overall, I had a lot of anticipation. After I don't know, like we started working on it back in 2022. You were posting about some beats that you had that you're looking for vocal collaborators. And when I first found your profile and stuff, it was because of the Worldly tour, uh, or Earthly festival event, or I don't know
Yeah,
what did you call it?
yeah. It was the Earthly Live Fest. Yeah.
Earthly Live Fest, and I was impressed with that. I'm a Eventual Infinity fanboy. I've known about him since he started publishing music on his SoundCloud. Like I was one of the first people to listen to his music, and I've been attached ever since. So,
Wow.
I followed along to see him play his little live stream video for Earthly, and yeah, along with I didn't catch the whole thing, but I caught uh, Peyton doing this thing, and I was just really impressed with how homegrown it was. Like you weren't a label, you were just a fan who wanted to see things happen, and it definitely had like a lo-fi spirit to it, both in your presentation, the things you were performing, the things you were saying, and of course all the wonderful acts that you had for that whole event. So that's where I got started.
Hey,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, you could say something about that. Go.
No, no, no. Thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, it was literally just like the kind of festival that I wanted to put together, for like a summer sort of thing to give people some new and fresh music, you know what I mean? And like um funny enough, actually, I basically was like kind of sort of friends with a lot of the people that like had sets for Earthly, including Eventual Infinity. Shout out to him, by the way. Not only does he make great music, but he is such a nice, such an awesome guy. Like, Peyton is the best, truly. But yeah, like,
Yeah, like he's been kind of silent this year, but when he does say something to you, it's like a ministering, and you feel very enlightened and blessed by him. Just for any sort of conversation or countenance you get from him. Like even if it's just the music, like the music is just inspiring enough by itself, and to have it attached to a nice guy is a double win.
Oh, absolutely, dude. You can't go wrong with somebody that not only makes fire music, but is like just incredibly, like an incredibly genuine, nice person. You know?
All right, so moving on from that,
Yeah.
yeah, you were working on your next material. You wanted some vocal collaborations. At the time, um, I wanted to um, expand myself more as a vocalist because mostly I've just been making keyboard music, but throughout my whole life I've been singing, whether it be you know uh, through singing songs on the radio or singing at church or stuff like that. I always thought of it as my most powerful instrument, but I've never been able to express that. So, see, seeing you wanting some vocal collabs was really good for me at that time, and I was when you showed me the beats that you had, I was really impressed with them. But of course, the one that I'm on was the one that I identified with the most. Um, so, having said all that, the anticipation on the album came from working on that song. It came from your ups and downs with how you were feeling as an artist. And I already went through that myself in 2018. I took a 4 5 year hiatus, not knowing what I was doing or what if I was going to make any impact with it or anything. So I just kind of stopped myself, and yeah. Um, so seeing you fall out and then come back in a relatively short amount of time, you know, also added to the anticipation. Um, it kind of helped me with producing the music I was making as well, um, which um, culminated into becoming the Pacific Trilogy. The first album is out now on CD. The second one is mastered, and the third one is almost done.
Seriously,
But
go check that stuff out when you
it's
can.
all yes. Uh, I'll that's my plug for myself. I have a CD. That's cool. I have a second album mastered. That's gonna be happening sometime. But yeah, and on the back to your album. So we had that one song. Um, you put out another single, the Human Materia, and they were so dynamically different from each other, which was really cool. And so,
Thank you.
I had a lot of guesses and anticipations on how the album was going to be. The first one, Euphoricosis, like, is that right?
Yeah, Euphoricosis, yeah.
Euphoricosis. That one already showed a lot of variety and length, which are two things that I really like in an album, especially an electronic album. So when it came to we, you know, we launched the singles. You launched the artwork. You launched the dates. I was ready to go. And even with all that in mind, I was still very bewildered and impressed by the album, by how much more variety there is than I was expecting, how much more gut punching it is than I was expecting. Like I took a lot of pride to the lyrics I wrote for my song, but the lyrics on each of these songs, they all got some punch to them. So I'm glad I was able to at least hold up to the rest of it. So yeah, it's a great album, and there's been a lot of great music this year, but um, this both both with like both with the underground friends and commercially, and even bridging the gap between those that I have a friendly bias towards, and the artists that I've listened to for years, and they've been professional and successful their own way. Like the two worlds have been really making really great music this year. So yeah.
Well, all I gotta say, man, is not only just thank you so much for saying all of that really kind, all those kind words, man. I know it doesn't like seem like it because of the way that I sound or whatever, but like it really like means the absolute most to me. Like, um, the fact that anybody would, I think I told you this before too, but like the fact that anybody would even listen to any of my music, let alone support it in that way is like is really cool. But on top of that, I honestly didn't realize that like me as an artist or even just like as a person or making these songs or whatever, I didn't realize that I had that kind of like impact on you, I guess, in a way. That's that's really crazy, man.
Well, it's what you fight for when you're producing your music, and you're fighting for the attention, you're fighting for the impact, you're trying to um you're trying to say you're a piece to the world and seeing who hears what. And yeah, and this year has been the best year for that so far. So when you're given much, I you want to give it back as well. That's the proverb. That's what we want to work with.
Oh, absolutely, dude.
So
Absolutely, and I couldn't agree more. I think that we really should kind of live by that principle, and I really do believe in that as well. That's part of the reason why for a lot of these live stream shows I really tried to like show people of like other people's music and stuff, and kind of give them like a little bit of that like at least a little bit of that attention. You know what I mean? Like because I really do think that there's a lot of
right.
genuinely talented artists, much like yourself, that kind of deserve like they deserve to at least be like noticed, and um yeah, I try to keep that in mind too.
Right. You you just need that one hit. You just need that algorithm to pick you up somehow.
Right.
That, or it just keeps spamming your links everywhere and become annoying for some people. But
Yeah, but I
that's
mean,
uh that's colla- that's colla- that's collateral damage for a good cause.
yeah, exactly. And unfortunately with the way that a lot of social media platforms too are kind of set up, you sort of have to like spam some of that stuff. DXM. I'm trying to think of who that is. What's up though? Welcome to the stream.
Uh, DXM is one of my biggest fans and collaborators.
Oh shoot. How's it
uh,
going?
he made that Helio set for me. He was the visual guy for that, and
Oh,
yeah, he's doing most of the visuals for the Pacific trilogy.
that's awesome. Well,
So
well,
I,
welcome,
I
DXM. I'm so sorry.
so yeah. First of all, the artwork. Like, uh, tell me about the artwork. How you made that? What's the concept behind that, and all that stuff?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I figured I might as well do this, before we fully get into it and everything like that. Beforehand
Okay.
though, I would like to just give this a quick, this is the song that we were talking about doing together, of course. Novus Ordo Seclorum
Yes.
Illuminatus featuring KJ Valium, our boy. Go listen to it if you haven't yet. Seriously, we're gonna be listening to it the stream anyways, but um,
Right.
yeah,
Go listen to the remix after.
yeah, and that too. That's also on the Odyssey Records and Spotify as well as KJ Valium's personal SoundCloud as well. So you can find it in multiple places.
Correct.
I'm sorry, what?
I just said correct.
Yeah. But anyway, so you asked about this, so I might as well give the story. Um, Basically it was a concept that I already had for this album at the time, because like uh I don't know if you remember in Drone Escape off of Euphoricosis how I like vaguely mentioned like neurological torture and like the the Voltex to a certain extent, like that kind of alien race basically. Um
Um. Well, yeah. I still need to I still need to unpack that album more, but I caught the general vibe that you were dealing with dystopian measures, and how just because you have this alien persona, it doesn't mean that you know you're coming by in like some sort of superior grace or whatever. Like it you definitely got your own qualms and uh struggles to deal with as well.
Oh, absolutely, man. Thank you for that. And to be honest with you, a lot of a lot of my art and a lot of my music and stuff is, what gives me the opportunity to be able to speak some of the truths, like about some of the things that I'm going through, and thinking, and
Yeah.
yeah, just the kind of messages that I want to put out to the world and to people, and um, stuff like that. Yeah, no problem, DXM. But but
So
yeah,
yeah, allegories and parables all around. And yeah, the allegory here is, you know, feeling uncomfortable, whether it be like it looks like he just smelled a fart and it wasn't good, that, or he's actually being interrogated and tortured and doing all that Clockwork Orange stuff. So both extremes are there,
yeah.
and that whole feeling permeated throughout the album, even with the more positive tracks near the end. Like,
Well,
so yeah, good artwork.
oh, thank you so much, man. But yeah, that's essentially what you're seeing there. Is him basically finally being captured by the Voltex after escaping, initially in the previous album. Or, I mean, why am I saying him? Me, whatever. Um, but yeah, basically, I get captured again by the Voltex, taken back to NETIKA HQ, and proceeded to be interrogated, and go through this torture and stuff like that. But I guess, like, the ultimate theme that I was going for with this album was like, um basically making this overall much bigger transition from like being in this really dark place and kind of like, almost being like hopeless, not knowing where to go and being lost and everything, to kind of finding this light in my life, and I hope that
Cool.
like sort of transition can be noticed, I guess, in throughout the span of the album.
There's a driving concept for sure, and yeah, there's ups and downs and slow parts and fast parts, and it does end in a pretty triumphant way. So yeah, the full story's there.
Awesome. Well, again, I'm really glad you like it, man. I'm glad you clung onto the concept and everything, and um, it means a lot. Truly, it does.
Well, it's something I've kind of been driving with the Pacific trilogy as well. Like the first album is exposition, the second album is warfare, and then the third album is like picking up the pieces, scrapping stuff like that. So, the concepts I had for my album was just too big for one standalone piece. I had to kind of split it out, but it's really cool to see us on the same similar wavelengths, not the same exact, but yeah.
Well, I mean, how boring would that be, right? If we were like exactly the same, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, we need our own interpretations, and um, I definitely felt, you know it kind of, being able to do this song did supplement my writing for the Pacific trilogy. So there's been some cool little influences given back and forth.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I'm glad that I was, kind of able to like help you in a lot of those ways. Like, truly. I'm glad that, I guess, in a way, was able to help you, not only with, your art and your music and stuff like that, but your life and the way that you, or like, your perspective towards things as well. It's kind of, it's really cool to see, where certain things have gone, and believe me when I tell you, I am so like beyond glad to have done that collaboration with you, simply because, like, it, like, that truly was, like, what that song needed. Was that sort of punch to it.
Alright, well, I'll wait and
Yeah.
I'll wait on the details of that song until we get to it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We'll get to it. Yeah, I've wasted up your guys' time. I'm sorry. Freaking a sheer 20 minutes in, and we're still talking. So without further ado, this is the entirety of NETIKA, starting with the first song, Prima Materia Ultima Mortis, featuring Cenis.
Hey guys,
Yeah, I warned you that would
it's
happen.
Gynk, back at you
That
again.
we would get into long
This time,
conversation.
I'm sorry, what? Oh,
I did warn you that I would go off on tangents and stuff, so.
yeah, I figured that was gonna happen.
hey guys, it's Gynk, back at you again. This time, let's delve into some things I've touched on before.
And get.
About the corruption in this world. About those who hide in the shadows. Of course, though, there's always far more to the story with this stuff. Allow us to elaborate. It's the prima materia, first material, it's not extraterrestrial. It's the prima material. It's the prima materia, first material, it's not extraterrestrial. It's the prima material. Let me introduce you to this idea I have about dreams that naive little boy once had. That the world was full of promise to grab, but the reality is there's other forces in the back. The world is a stage and we're all actors. We've all been told these tales of kings and velociraptors. But what if those raptors were hypothetically kings? The toils in this world were the offers that they bring. The universe in all its scope is what you see of it. To find the pieces to this puzzle you must create in it. The key to your understanding is progressive expanding it. For that's the prima materia. It's the prima materia, first material, it's not extraterrestrial. It's the prima material. It's the prima materia, first material, it's not extraterrestrial. It's the prima material. It's the prima materia, first material, extraterrestrial. It's the prima material. It's the prima materia, first material, extraterrestrial. It's the prima material.
It's the prima materia, doesn't know the mass and hysteria. Don't let yourself fall through the traps they set as they sit back and take a bet, scanning your barcode. I'm the prophet who's phantasmagorical, like you're speaking to an oracle. Let me open your eyes to a power inside. Mental transmutation with that third eye allows us to realize the outpouring of the divine. A system leading us to doom, not broke but a perfect recognition for the purpose of the prima materia. A definition of the extraterrestrial, starving and poisoning your spiritual ego, death and attack from the materia. Cenis survives the blue phoenix, ready to start destruction, burning away corruption. Kindle your flame, build from the ashes when it inevitably crashes.
But that's the prima materia. It's the prima materia, first material,
Built from the
it's not
ashes when it inevitably
extraterrestrial.
crashes.
It's the prima material. It's the prima materia, first material,
Built from the
it's not
ashes when it inevitably
extraterrestrial.
crashes.
It's the prima material.
Kindle your flame.
It's the prima materia, first material,
Built from the
it's not
ashes when it inevitably
extraterrestrial.
crashes.
It's the prima material. It's the prima materia, first material, extraterrestrial. It's the premium material. It's the premium material. First material, extraterrestrial.
I love that little hiss at the end. How it's on going through the beat and stuff,
Awesome, thanks, man.
and how long the track is too. You let it prolong. Like I get asked why I like long songs so much, and it's because you want the whole idea to be pushed through. You don't want to just compartmentalize it and stuff. You want that full atmosphere to be explored.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that happens a lot throughout the album, and I appreciate that.
Well, thank you so much, man. Yeah, I really do. Like whatever ideas I'm working with, I really do like try my best to like fully flesh it out to the best of my ability. You know, even though sometimes I know it's like kind of lacking, it's not like 100% there. But I appreciate that though, man. I'm glad you find a lot of these concepts to be very like kind of like realized and stuff. You got any more thoughts about it?
So, can you tell me about Mr. Cenis?
Oh,
How
Cenis.
how that whole collaboration happened?
So, Cenis's identity is a mystery. I unfortunately I can't be the one to tell you guys. Out of respect.
Is it a okay? So it's a ghost name type of thing.
Yeah. Well, at least for now, we'll see where it goes. But yeah, they kind
Okay,
of
cool.
yeah, they really don't want to like be that well known right now or anything like that. But they did want to be a part of the song and everything. And honestly, I really felt like they were the perfect person for the job with this particular track. They really kind of delved in very deep into some of the concepts that they did, spiritually and stuff like that. And I found it to be just an interesting, different perspective, to like put into the song.
Yeah, you don't want to write all the lore by yourself. Like you want to be able to bounce it off other people, and that's kind of his interpretation and exposition.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I think also though, like mainly whenever I do collaborations with people, a lot of it is to truly like get their perspective and get their sort of like own unique approach towards like the way that they look at the concept or look at the track, you know what I mean? Like
the proper term is witness, their own witness to it all.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of the idea is like, I like giving people their own sort of like ability to like express what it is that they have to say whenever I do these collaborations and stuff. But yeah, sorry.
It's kind of like the most extreme example of that is Magma, and how each album from Magma is like this whole rock opera that takes place in the same universe, and like yeah, there's kind of that one going on. Then there's like Deltron 3000 for a more hip hop approach, and I can't imagine writing a whole universe like that, but I respect it when it comes.
Well, thank you, man. I think more than anything, though, I really just I kind of have like the vague idea of like what the concept is, and what the story is, but then in a way, I just like the music to kind of like express that idea in like different ways, without necessarily having to like explicitly tell people like, hey, this is what's going on.
Right, and that's the next step after all that is being able to fracture it into a workable lyrics that work as music, help people ease them into the atmosphere and stuff. So I didn't think I in some ways when it launched as a standalone single, like I wasn't sure if it was going to be the first song of the album or not, or if there was going to be like this huge album that it is now. But it was a good way to like feel the mood of it, feel the exposition of it, and there's going to be some dark things happening, but I felt like with this song, with how the lyrics came out and stuff, it's like, even though you're tackling dark subjects and personal struggles and whatnot, it's going to be done so in a reassuring way at the end. With there's a good beat to it. There's up temponess. There's uh, your little introduction lines in the beginning. So yeah, it definitely helped to build up the anticipation of the album release.
Awesome. I'm glad you think so, man. Thank you. I gotta be honest with you, I didn't really know how it was gonna perform as a single. Like, the way it is for me most of the time, I really don't, like, know how to anticipate, like, what people are gonna think of it. I mean, of course, but, I'm
Yeah,
I'm just glad that, people, like, have shown that, they are, like, able to, like, gravitate towards it in a way, it's kind of, like, personal to them, and I don't know, that's like, it's kind of crazy, and it's pretty cool to see people react to the work that you make in that way.
the choruses are short, and it comes off as creative and catchy. That definitely helps. The alliteration you have with it um, makes it I don't know, good chorus. That's all I gotta say.
Well, thank you so much, man. Again, I appreciate it more than I can even put it into words. Um, Truly, like, oh, by the way, prima materia means first material in Latin. It's kind of sort of related to the Philosopher's
Gotcha.
Stone and everything, yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know, a little bit of a wonky
It's kind of like have you watched Heavy Metal, that 1980s animation movie?
You know what's funny is I did. I watched it like several years ago. I think I was like I was kind of a
Yeah,
youngin when I watched it.
it's it's supposed to be a bunch of like short stories kind of attached together by this overarching plot point about a certain stone, and that's kind of like what's happening here. So you know keeping in mind the whole pretense of heavy metal kind of helps me out here with this album.
Interesting. Oh, and also DXM said heavy metal inspired my art in a lot of ways. The magazine and the film. Um,
It's a classic. It's an animation classic, but it's still very, very underrated. And it's like the influence it has is so tremendous, and yet people just kind of look over it and watch their favorite anime over and over again. It's just it's annoying. Like if you're into animation in general, you have to watch a heavy metal. Like
oh, absolutely.
it's an obligation to the art and craft.
Yeah, as a fellow animation enthusiast myself as well, I definitely find myself heavily inclined to agree with Mr. Valium here. uh, Go check it out if you haven't watched Heavy Metal yet. Seriously, yeah, and I agree. The soundtrack is incredible.
Right. The soundtrack to heavy metal, the vintage pulp '80s feel of it, like it's a classic.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, but that's actually an interesting comparison though. I wouldn't have like thought of like bouncing off of premium material with like heavy metal or like a similar sort of concept. So that's kind of that's pretty cool, man.
That's the fun thing about getting influenced by things, is that like years later you don't remember uh, where you got the inspiration from, but it's still there in your unconscious brain.
Yeah.
And then if you ever feel like being nostalgic about something and you go back to it, it's like, oh, that's where I got the idea from. Nothing is unique.
Yeah.
Everything is recycled. You
Yeah.
just have to personalize it.
Yeah, actually, in a lot of ways, that's very true. Funny enough, actually, since you mentioned that, a lot of so I would say that a lot of the influence that I gain, for like a lot of the artistic stuff that I do, especially my music and everything, or just expressing these ideas in different ways, came from like, kind of like what you said, like, sort of like very subtle, like subconscious influences from various different things throughout the years that kind of just culminated into like
Right.
something.
Yeah, and at least it bounces out differently in the end. Like you're not just making a rip-off carbon copy. Like being able to mix your influences together is what, you know, helps make things more personal and more intentful.
Couldn't agree more, sir. Couldn't agree more.
Right. All right. The second song just freaking blew me away when I first listened to it. It's like, oh yeah, we're getting deep into it. Like, all right, go ahead and play it. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
if there's nothing else to
Exactly. Thank you for the segue, by the way. That was the perfect segue. Without further ado, this next song, the second track off the album, is self-titled. It's the title of the album, NETIKA. Check it out. that, ladies and gentlemen, was NETIKA. That was the second track.
Woohoo! It's a full track. Like it, there's so much imagery to it, and with how much depth there is to the beat. Not just the beat, but like all the atmospheres and the synth pads and everything going on. DXM approves. Hell yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, DXM. I appreciate it, man. I really do. Yeah. It's kind of funny that you. I do remember sending you this track as one of the ones that I was thinking of you like collabing on and stuff like that. I remember that.
Right. I just didn't know how to fit into it vocally, and sometimes tracks just work better as an instrumental. Like it tells the story enough by itself.
Yeah, I think in this specific case as well, it definitely was one of those instances. It definitely worked a lot better as like a standalone track. And you know what's funny about like and don't get me wrong, I do appreciate the praises and stuff like that. It means a lot. But ironically and funny enough, I actually kind of personally I think that this is like the worst song on the album. Just because, like, I don't know, compositionally, it's like,
I can understand that. It is a simple start, like, but that's why it works as like the first track, the titular track or whatever. Like, your beats do get a lot more complicated as the album goes, and it kind of shows that this one. But even then, like, you have your own standards, and then there's the standards of everyone else. Like, this is by far still like much better than the rest of the crew. Like, I'd does that make sense?
yeah. No, I appreciate that, man.
It just kind of shows how high your standards are when it comes to what kind of music you want to attach to your name and stuff.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you think so, man. Yeah, like, I don't know. I just when it comes to the things that I make, like, I don't want it to ever come across as like, I'm just completely like, half-assing it, I guess, in some way. Like, I really want to show that like I do care about like what I'm doing, and I really want to put like the best possible effort forth. Like, for the most part.
Right.
Not just for my sake, but for the sake of like, for to allow for other people to like truly enjoy it and stuff. And have it like stand out in a different way.
So,
but yeah,
I could definitely hear how it's kind of held back, like, but then again, that's what makes it great as like the first instrumental track, because it only goes up from there, and it does.
Well, thanks, man. I'm glad you think so. And speaking of going up, the next track that is up
this one's cool.
is Delirious. Forewarning, the vocals are not that good in this song, so just bear in mind. Without further ado, I mean, unless if you have something else you'd like to say, KJ, before we get started.
I'm glad we have a visualist in the chat, because it's stuff like that video editors kind of chase after. So I don't know. You publish the track. It's on its own rails. Whoever finds it will love it. And if someone is talented enough to make a visual piece out of it, be able to fully, like, if you get around to like drawing a whole comic or cartoon or animation of the Nikita plot, I'm definitely interested on seeing how this song would be incorporated into that.
Well,
because it's good. It's good unconscious music. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I would use it for multimedia purposes.
Wow, that's that's quite the compliment, man. I like, honestly, I don't even know what to say. Well, thank you.
Yeah, you feel one way when you publish a song, and you're gonna be looking back on it years from now, and maybe you'll feel differently.
Yeah,
That's all I gotta say.
yeah. Honestly, you might have a point there. You might be right. I might end up looking back on this and going, "Huh, maybe that wasn't as bad as I thought it was," or whatever. But without further ado, yeah, let's get into it. This is the third track off the album, Delirious. Here we go.
Serious, I put too much pain in the fact that I'm curious. All these truths about make me furious. I'm so delirious. I'm here for the things that I have regrets. People out there wanna say I'm a difference, but they don't wanna know how we've been oppressed. We're so delirious. Down from all these horrible truths and revelations I found. Coming closer to the things God wants me to know, while still feeling like my purpose isn't show. Everyone looks at me like I'm just some kid who's confused and delirious, doesn't know where he's been. I tell those I care for of what I find, yet what I tell them they tell me I'm on my mind. I feel like I'm going crazy every day, cause I can tell you fixing things that others say. They don't wanna know that you've been honest man. But when they find out they'll all be in disarray, it'll be too late. I've been paranoid and I'm way too serious. I put too much pain from the fact that I'm curious. All these truths about make me furious. I'm so delirious. I'm here for the things that I have regrets. People out there wanna say I'm a difference, but they don't wanna know how we've been oppressed. We're so delirious. Way too serious, I put too much pain from the fact that I'm curious. All these truths about make me furious. I'm so delirious. I'm here for the things that I have regrets. People out there wanna say I'm a difference, but they don't wanna know how we've been oppressed. We're so delirious. I'm paranoid and I'm way too serious. I put too much pain from the fact that I'm curious. All these truths about make me furious. I'm so delirious. I'm here for the things that I have regrets. People out there wanna say I'm a difference, but they don't wanna know how we've been oppressed. We're so delirious.
Wow, how about that, huh?
So the other part of me anticipating the album was like, we'll get to the fifth song when we get to the fifth song, but after writing my lyrics, performing the song, hearing the back and forth of producing the song and publishing the song, seeing my lyrics, seeing your lyrics, I was curious on how well it would be integrated to the rest of the album. So listening to the album the first time, going from Prima Materia to this, it's such a great segue. No, it definitely helps me with making our song make sense and stuff. But yeah, the the feelings here that are being expressed. I'm all for it. I'm all for the screaming. I sent you a lot of screaming.
Yes, you did. You did.
When yeah, and I like how you wrote out ah. And
Right? I mean, how else am I gonna write it, right?
just in case you weren't following along. Yeah, it's like you could just do like parentheses scream or whatever, but this is a lot more fun.
Exactly. I mean, what better way is there, right? To write out screams, just ah.
Exactly. That's literally what I'm saying. I'm saying ah.
Yeah, literally, because it's like, yeah. Carnival of Unearthly Delights vibe, I dig it. Oh, wow, thanks DXM. And thank you again for showing up.
And yeah, so really cool vibes here. I like how once again it's produced, how chopped up the pianos are to make them more hardcore. Same thing with the strings and stuff, and the drum beat and how it's all glued together. Like this really kind of makes me feel like you're taking influence from classic bands like KMFDM and what's that one?
Yo, KMFDM, that's a nice name drop.
Yeah, there's name drops here and there that I can do, and it sounds classic, it sounds modern, it sounds like you, it sounds right into the flow of like what genres you're encompassing and stuff. I like a good genre soup in an album, so being able to jump from a moody industrial instrumental to like a full on hardcore thing here, digital hardcore thing here was really cool. And of course, you started off more calmly with the prima materia. So yeah, the stage there's a lot of layers and stages already being made. 3 songs into the album. So
well, thank you so much, man. Wow,
and nothing like
sorry.
Yeah, nothing like a good emotion dump as well. Like you don't you're not saying much to the lore or anything like that here, but it definitely fits in.
Wow, and I'm glad that that the differences in the tracks like kind of translated well. I'm glad that like the genre soup aspect of it that you were talking about, and that DXM mentioned as well. I'm glad that kind of like sort of worked. You know what I mean? Like, because sometimes it doesn't, and I don't know. It's like a very fine like balancing act that you have to play. And if you go too over the top with something that it can throw...
Yeah, you can't. There are some bands that label themselves experimental, and they just yeah.
What like what do you mean?
But there's no like there's no like core flow to it. Like they're just letting the randomizer go and not really making a song out of it.
Yeah, like in other words, like they're not trying to experiment in a way that's like cohesive. They're basically just like, sort of throwing like word and music salad together and hoping it works in some way.
Yeah, like they being catchy is still important. Having hooks is still important. You got to keep it relatable.
Yeah, I mean,
so that you could still be experimental by the edges and still make it poppy and stuff. Like there's ways around it. Like not all mainstream music is bad, not all pop music is bad.
Yeah,
type of thing.
Yeah,
there's no pretension to the song. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh,
it's not pretentious.
Oh well, thank you, man. I'm honestly, I know I say it a lot, but like I'm glad. But I mean, yeah,
you need a little thankful button.
I'm sorry.
Push the thankful button.
Yes, absolutely, 1,000,000 times thankful. But I don't know. It's just like I don't see there being like any particular problem with like, wanting to go like over the rails and like doing something really, off the wall and different, or doing something a lot more conventional, or poppy, or like the way that I see it is, as long as it's like a truthful expression of the artist and it's done well, like, whatever it is, like like if it works, it works. If it sounds good, it sounds good. You know what I mean? And like I think that's kind of like an overarching sort of like perspective that I try to have about like any and all music,
Yeah, like there's no sincere, like there's plenty of metal bands out there that have the chops to be able to switch genres and feelings every 30 seconds and so, but there's no like real sincerity to it. There's no cohesive songwriting to it. Yeah.
Which, I mean, sometimes like more off the wall concepts can like work in a different sort of way, but like it ultimately depends on like what the music is, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I guess that's just the best way I can put it, but yeah, with this particular song, um, it was a very different approach for me, at least personally, like when it comes to like the ways that I was approaching a lot of my music at the time before, starting to do this type of music and work on this album and everything. This is one of those instrumentals that I was working on, where I really, as you can probably tell, like I really wanted to like switch it up and like do something that like people wouldn't exactly expect from me. You know what I mean? While also like having it kind of like come from some of those previous influences.
Right. And along with that, it's hard, it's a song that's hard to ignore. Like how you feel about it? Like there's definitely some attention focal to it.
Wow, you think the vocals are good, man? I appreciate that.
The they're sincere. The vocal delivery is very sincere. And that's kind of like what you need with a song like this. Like I just feel like there's way too much instrumental music in the world. Like there's too many instrumental producers and stuff. I feel like, I do it myself. I make a lot of instrumental keyboard, noises and stuff, but in the end, the voice is like the most important tool producer has. So being able to do both the lyrics and the singing and the production, all that put together, that kind of shows like how sincere you are with this project and the emotions you're trying to convey.
Yeah, thank you, man. I really do like. I mean, for the most part, I genuinely do try to like be very authentic with a lot, just a lot of the stuff that I do. I mean, granted, am I perfect? No, but then again, is anybody? Um, but I think at the
I don't expect. I don't expect perfect vocal delivery out of this project. I just expect it to be like from the heart.
well, at the very least, I'm glad that like it worked in that sense. And it it definitely like it's kind of crazy to me because again, like I didn't really know how people were gonna take a lot of these tracks and everything like that, and to hear that they were actually kind of, you know, um, I don't know,
Yeah,
the
and
fact
it's
that it
like
stood out.
you don't want a clean vocalist for a song like this either. Like that, having a clean vocalist, you know, go through these emotions just doesn't make sense in the end. So yeah, authenticity is key. Dissonance done right sounds much better than anything else. So yeah.
True, true. And actually, speaking of dissonance as well, our next track up is it's actually one that features like instrumental work. Basically, it was an instrumental collaboration between Listless Clouds and I. it's the 4th track off the album, and it's titled Fragmentorum Plenos. Is there anything else you'd like to say, KJ, before we continue?
I was gonna wait for the song to play first.
Okay, yeah, gotcha, for sure. Alright, well, without further ado, the next song up is Fragmentorum Plenos, featuring Listless Clouds. Alright, that was Fragmentorum Plenos.
Shortest song on the album,
Wait, really?
and still has a lot of punch by itself. Like, I feel like, yeah, like this could have easily been like a 1 minute interlude, but I feel, I feel like you kind of made a 1 minute loop. You felt like you needed to expand it more. You got in a little production collaboration with it, and it feels a lot better the way it is now. I was trying to pick apart what I would predict is your prediction and what is Listless Cloud's prediction, but I haven't been able to do that yet. So I guess, go ahead and explain the track, and I'll just learn from you.
Yeah, certainly, absolutely. Especially considering that you're curious about it, I'd be more than happy to explain it. So basically, the production of this song in particular actually, so Listless Clouds and I were just like kind of discoursing back and forth about like doing a collaboration, and, like, oh well, how should we do it? And he was like, well, maybe I can like, send you a little like sample snippet or whatever of something, and maybe you can do something with it. And sure enough, that's what he did. He sent me this little like audio clip, basically, and I liked it so much I ended up taking that audio clip or that sample, and trying to rework it like in a like totally like new kind of beat, basically. That's essentially what you're hearing is you're hearing the sample that I got from Listless Clouds being kind of disjointed
so
and
it started with Listed Clouds.
yes, precisely. Started with their sample and then basically I kind of built everything on top of that.
All right, that's cool.
Well, I'm glad you think that it packs a punch, honestly.
Yeah. I listen to a lot of ambient music, lo-fi music, down-tempo music, and there's definitely more creative aspects to it than other music of its caliber. So yeah, and it's a perfect segue to the next song.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, I wasn't trying to. But before that, so what does the track mean to you? Like, what's the title? What's the concept?
So, Fragmentorum plenos in Latin means broken pieces, and initially, what's funny is, when I came up with the track title itself, I had like a whole other like song in mind. Um, it was basically just like something I was kind of him-hawing like around my head, basically. But then I ended up, doing the collab, and I just realized that like that song worked a lot better for that concept, and so I just ended up basically going with it, you know what I mean?
That's so fun. Like having an idea and not going anywhere, and then you're able to bring it back with some help or additional inspiration that you didn't have before.
Yeah, like and funny enough, like an entirely different kind of feel and approach that, I would have initially taken with, like this particular song or like this idea or have you, like having it be like something that's more in theme for the album, like more dark, more like that sort of thing. And yeah, like it was really cool to see this kind of fleshed out.
Yeah, like the track does describe the track, and it still fits in within the album narrative and vibe and stuff. So that's cool.
Yeah.
New insight for me. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. Hey, thank you for asking. I'm glad I was able to give you some answers to those questions. All right.
Yep.
Is there anything else you'd like to say about the track in particular?
The big one.
All right. All right. Well, oh, sorry.
The much for this album, or was it all just software?
Oh, so basically, I do all my production. Sorry. So were you?
Okay.
No. I'm sorry. Were you asking like if any of this was like, analog or like software, what have you?
Yeah. Was the guitar played out, or was it just part of the production?
So basically, I actually had plans to incorporate a lot more like actual like instrumentation, like guitar and stuff like that into some of these songs. I had plans for that. In fact, I actually was working on a version of Novus Ordo Seclorum with guitar in it, like electric guitar, but eventually I just kind of like felt like I was wasting too much time, trying to work on like the overall sound of that version, and it just didn't end up working out. So Novus Ordo Seclorum ended up just being, what it was. For the most part, this album was basically done mostly through software. Like different, just really different sample techniques and different stuff like that. But I kind of wanted it to be like basically I wanted to come across as like, even though it was using some of these methods that like in a way sound wise it was kind of tricking you into thinking that it was like something, something else, I guess, to some extent. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm glad you had the idea there, but you know, not every idea works out in the end for an album. So, you know, it's nice to have like an excessive amount of ideas. So by the end of it, you still don't feel like you left out anything. So that's cool though. And you know, it's still cool that you had the idea and you had the skill set to try and play it and stuff. So
Well, thanks, man.
and you know,
sorry.
yeah, I kind of have the same struggle between, you know, wanting to be able to express everything through, you know, physical instruments and being able to recreate everything live and stuff. But as a solo artist, it's really impossible to bring everything all at once to a live setting. But it also makes it makes for a fun game later on when you're trying to perform the song live on how you could expand on it post release and make it more fun than just DJing it out or whatever.
Well,
So yeah,
absolutely.
The song is called Broken Pieces, and in a way, having broken pieces makes it so that you created it one way for the album, and you could create it a different way later on down the road and still have the album piece be the album piece.
Yeah. So one of these days, hopefully I'm gonna be able
saying
to...
all that. There's a lot. The bottom line is there's a lot more going to the song than just being an interlude piece, and yeah.
Well, thank you, man. That's kind of interesting that, you know, like some... Whereas, yeah, I could have worked as some sort of short interlude piece that like it was able to work in sort of a different way. One of these days, I'm going to try to get around to going back to the project for Novus Orsiclorum and like, either like finalizing the version that has the guitars and stuff like that, or maybe one day, if I'm able to get the opportunity to do like a live set, I might do it then. Because I think that'd be kind of a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, in a lot of ways, you know, Fragmentorum Plenos, Broken Pieces, it's kind of very exemplary of like what the song is in a way. It's kind of constructed of like various, you know, pieces of like, you know, that were like part of something like more cohesive at one point, or like more full, and then like kind of being broken down into smaller fragments or what have you. But yeah.
And there's a metaphor that to life and stuff, and for sure.
Well, I mean, shoot, honestly, I didn't really, when I was first making it, I didn't really think it would be like, you know, that kind of extensive, but I'm glad that it like translates that way, man. Truly. But, anyway, should we move on to the next one?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Sorry.
No,
I didn't think you expect to talk about that song so much. So yeah.
No, you're fine.
That
was on me, man. Without further ado, we already gave a little bit of exposition for the song beforehand. This is KJ VALIUM and I's collaboration, Novus Orsiclorum Illuminatus. Let's get it. Wow. What do you gotta say about that one, KJ?
Best song ever.
Yes, sir.
Oh man. All right. So this is the most I've done vocally for any one track before, and you know, I said I said a lot about vocals being the most important instrument and stuff, but it's like, as a mostly instrumental producer myself, I still push myself to have like vocal inclusions here and there. Like, I've always wanted to be a vocalist for a rock band or a metal band. The picking up the keyboard in 2016 was just kind of a way to supplement myself, to be able to add more, when I'm trying to audition to new bands and stuff. Like, look, I'm not just a vocalist. Like, I know how to play keyboards. I know how to play bass. I want to be involved in songwriting stuff. I just don't want to sing on top of things. But yeah, so I've always made it a point to include some sort of vocals on each of my albums, even if it's just a little bit. The main influence from that is a band called Cult of Luna, which is mostly a post-metal, progressive metal type band, where they do a lot of like post-rock instrumentals with a lot of distortion and metal riffs and stuff. And some songs, it feels like a traditional metal song where they have verse, chorus, verse, chorus. Some songs are just purely instrumental. Some songs are instrumental, but they still have like one vocal inclusion into it, and that just helps with the meaning of the song that much more. It's not just a title track and the instrumental thereof. Like, it kind of gives words to the music and the story going on. So this was a good opportunity for me to like push myself beyond that and be able to give a good showcase of what I could do. both with the screaming and the singing put together. So it was a bit of a stretch. It took me a lot of different days of recording, and eventually I got help from my friend Indigo, who was a huge help and a huge influence in helping me get back into making music again last year. And as an additional plug, his guitar playing is on the Pacific broadcast. So yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that.
He helped me with this song. Yeah. So we tried to start a band together, but the problem with that was he's on the other side of the city. It's like an hour and a half drive. And it, having, wanting to make a metal band is hard enough, but wanting to make a metal band with like-minded people is even harder.
Yep.
And adding the logistics onto that and stuff. So we're both into like the whole genre soup of metal music. We're also into vaporwave and electronic music. So that helped me. So his background helped me with producing the vocals here. And same thing with the Pacific broadcast with his guitar playing on that album.
Wow.
So yeah, shout out to Indigo for helping.
Yeah, seriously, shout out to him. I also sorry, what?
Yeah. He'll say that he didn't do anything, that he was just there for it and stuff, and having his slice of humble pie and stuff. But yeah, but he really did help just by existing. At the very least, he existed. But at the most, he did help me like get the right take and stuff.
Yeah,
but even then, it was still difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. I even went out of yeah, I even put him as a production in the song as well. Or as a production credit, yeah. So you can read it right here.
And
Indigo.
Yes,
sir.
Yeah, that's just his little ghost name. Like, same thing with the person on the first track. He doesn't really want to push himself out there as a producer or anything like that. He's just, music is a fun thing for him. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty awesome, man. And also really interesting. So, would you say that Novus Ordo Seclorum was kind of like, would you say it was like a really neat way of sort of like stepping outside your comfort zone?
Technically, yes. Like, I was already into the vibe. Like, I grew up listening to a lot of electronic music, industrial music, EBM music. Shout out to Frontline Assembly, Skinny Puppy, all that classic stuff.
Absolutely.
So, that's something I wanted to express in that way. A lot of the hardcore, metalcore, digital core type of vocals. But being able to do it in a way where I'm not just singing along, being a performer in my head and stuff. Being able to actually publish it onto a song was the big step here.
Absolutely, and honestly, I think it was one of those collaborations that just, what was kind of weird about it, as well as like a lot of these other collaborations, is that they just came together so, it came together so naturally. You know what I mean? Like everything just sort of like worked so well. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, it was meant to be complete. Like even with my technical holdups and your emotional holdups, throughout last year and this year, I still knew in my head the song was meant to be complete, and that's why I was so excited to see the end of it. And when it came time for me to do my first live performance, it was with the good old people in San Diego, PK Skylar and Mr. G, and they started out their metal outfit, which is PK Skylar. He's a rapper vocalist, and G is the guitarist, but he also does a lot of computer production. So the whole tagline is that they're an internet metal band, but it's very much centered in like Newgrounds nostalgia.
Oh,
So there's a lot of
interesting.
new metal, alternative metal, all the '90s, the 2000s stuff. So when it came to performing with them, I didn't want to just be sitting on my keyboard the whole time. I wanted to be as animated and excited with them, as their performance. So this song is pretty much what I had.
Wow, dude. All I can say is that like, and not to mention like your collaboration. I believe I said it to you before, but I will say it again. Like it truly just it completed the entire track. Like it truly just. I feel
Yeah.
like if it were not for your collaboration, this song would be nowhere near as complete as it is. Like,
Yeah, and I like how it was weird to me at first and kind of discouraging, but I like how um not everything I sent to you was included into the final track. Like you um I for that verse 1 part, it was supposed to be an 8-bar thing, and now it's just a 4-bar onto the track. And I've been able to incorporate the 8-bar version into my remix, as well as to the track, one of my tracks on the Pacific Theater. But
hey,
to have it be a 4-bar track on this song instead, it gives more attention to the instrumentals. So it's not just like it's not like we're just dumping all the words into it. We want it to be a vibe. You want it to be an experience. And in some ways, it works how it is, and I like it. In other ways, I still wish that the other 4 bars were included, but it was kind of my fault in the end because of how I recorded it. Like the first 4 bars was the first thing I was able to record, and it wasn't until later, after a couple more days and a couple more takes, that I was able to send the rest. But I guess it was too late by the end. So I'm still able to use it in different ways,
well, I'm glad you're
but at
able.
the same time, yeah. So yeah, I'm not upset about that, and I upset you with how I performed the song too early, and
Well,
yeah, that was a better sorry than safe type of thing, and I'm sorry about that.
dude, you don't you don't have to apologize about that, man. I was more or less just worried at the time. You know what I mean? Because like you never know. I'm not even saying like specifically you, but like you never know how people can like like what they'll do. So it was just like
Yeah, and well, you mentioned that it kind of jittered up your tracking for the album, and so when you said that, I knew I made a mistake there.
it's okay, man. It really is. It wasn't something majorly big anyways, and everything ended up working out in the end. And like
Yeah,
I know I was like a lot more upset at the time, but like I trust me, like no hard feelings or anything there. If anything, I think it's really cool now that that's even a thing that's like out there. That like you did that.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, the lyrics to this, there's a lot of discouragement and dystopian feelings that come from talking about the Illuminati and the world order and all that stuff. But when it came to writing something for myself, I wanted to make a more personal impression of it. Like, so what if so what if our democracy isn't actually a democracy? Like, what does that mean for me in my day-to-day life? And
Yeah.
that's something I wanted to um, explain more personally with it. And yeah, I'm glad that it was able to fit the album. And along with that, it helped it gave me more inspiration on what to do with the remix, as well as what you're going to hear from the Pacific Theater, because the themes and tones definitely carried over to that album.
Yep, and look forward to that. Look forward to checking that out whenever you know.
Well, yeah, the album is mastered, and I want it to be a bigger release than the Pacific broadcast was, but yeah, it's still going to take time for all the post production stuff to happen. Like, um, we'll be uh, there will be DXM should be done with the 20-minute video for it, if not soon, and I'll be showcased in a couple live streams next month.
Right on, man.
So
Believe me when I tell you, I'm definitely gonna be looking forward to it. I'm going to listen to it when it comes out. Sounds awesome, dude.
for those listening, there is a very particular particularly poignant future from Gynk on that album,
Oh,
and that's a whole different story.
yeah. I guess we'll. You guys just got to stay tuned to see that one.
Yeah, we'll explain it in the Pacific Theater breakdown.
All right. Hey, now you got me excited, even more so than I was before.
Exactly.
All right, man. You got anything else you want to say about the track, or like, because yeah, believe me.
I've been talking this whole time. Give me your perspective.
So when it comes to this particular song, it was something that I was working on for a while. Bouncing between like multiple different audio DAWs, multiple different programs and stuff, and I kind of had like a rough idea of what I wanted to do with it for a while. But then it finally kind of just hit me, like if I'm doing like a conspiratorially, based sort of album, why not just like write lyrics and write a song like around, the like some of the meat and potatoes of like sort of that aspect of corruption and stuff, and that is like of course the New World Order, Illuminati, that sort of thing. And so that's kind of where a lot of my lyrics come from, at least, in that specific sense, but also the part where I'm going, I'm just trying to make a living for me and my family. I'm just trying to make a living to help society, basically like the whole just trying to make a living thing. That very much so was like a very real,
Right.
very personal sort of thing for me, because it's like that's sort of how I feel. Is like on top of the fact of like these people perpetrating these things and like certain things being the way they are, at the end of the day, like I'm just a person that's like trying my best, to make a living, to like try and help my family the best I can, or trying to help people the best I can, while also like being in this place where I just
Right.
feel like incredibly hopeless.
Yeah, and yeah, that's what I got from it too. Like, you could watch any, History Channel documentary about whatever, and it's nice information to have. It's all very entertaining, but and we feed off of that entertainment in different ways, but
Yeah.
it uh, it could be thrilling, but it could also be depressing. And
Oh,
it's like if you it's hard to avoid politics when it's knocking on your door like this, like with inflation happening and nothing being everything everything is now unaffordable, and the life we had in the 90s is completely gone, and all the things that our parents have taught are mostly useless information now.
yep.
College is worthless. No, the having work ethic is a joke now,
Yeah,
because that
honestly.
doesn't mean anything anymore. Yeah, yeah. So my lyrics saying, "I've got to live for myself. I don't have time to help. I don't have time to care." You see people struggling through all this. You see so many GoFundMe's and I'm about to be homeless and stuff like that. It's like I can't help you guys. I'm trying to survive myself.
Exactly. It's precisely,
So
and yeah, and that's kind
y-
of like a
y-
very similar thing to what I'm trying to say too. Sorry. I'm sorry, man.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, like
yeah.
absolutely.
Well, yeah. I interrupted you again. So yeah, keep on about how you made the song and stuff.
No, I was more or less just saying, like, I interrupted you too, man. I feel so bad. But, like, so, kind of a similar thing to what you were saying before about, like, you see all these people that, like, try so hard to reach out for help and everything like that, and, as much as you feel for them and as much as you really want to help other people, it's like, it's kind of like what you said, it's like, I can't, like, I'm literally trying to do the same thing for me and my family, like, and, I don't know, it's like, it's also, it's that idea,
Yeah,
but it's also, like, piling it on top of, like, the overarching, like, I guess, bigger picture, sort of, like, oppressive kind of look at, like, the way things are in society and various other things, I guess I was just sort of pairing a lot of those ideas together.
The boiling point to the song is just taking the steak pill. That's what it felt like to me. Like, have you heard of that?
Taking the steak pill?
It's from the Matrix.
Oh, like red pill, blue pill.
Yeah, that kind of thing. It's like, the protagonist's approach is to take the red pill and to learn all this information and go to 4chan, go to Wikipedia, go to all this funny stuff. But it's like all that knowledge is trivial, and it's just makes it even more depressing because, just because you know what's going on doesn't mean you could do anything about it. So you might taking the steak pill means you just want to forget and try to make life as enjoyable as you can because trying to fix it in other ways isn't going to happen.
Yeah. It's definitely a lot of different, like, ideas surrounding those concepts kind of bouncing off each other, and that's also sort of what I like about it too, is that it's not just like, sort of showing just one concept about it or like one idea or this or that. It's kind of like looking at various different ways of, like, looking at those kinds of issues and stuff, and, like, I think that was a very refreshing way of sort of approaching it. But yeah, with that being said, I'm so sorry. I really don't mean to, like, cut you off and interrupt you, like, at all, man. I really don't.
Well, there's millions of things to say, but we're already like an hour and a half into this already.
Yeah. Well, and also
and we still have like 12 songs.
Well, yeah, we have like about 6 or 7, yeah. So
so I probably won't have time to do the entire album, but we can keep going.
Okay, yeah. Well, we can also spitball it, like, as quick as we possibly can if we want to do that as well.
Yeah, sure.
For sure.
Especially with the instrumental tracks.
Yeah. Like, we may not necessarily have to, like, play the entirety of those or anything like that. So without further ado, just to not waste any more time, this is Witches in Hollywood featuring Dr. Victoria in the next track in the album. Here we go.
Masquerades or celebrities. There are witches. lights, they're all glitz and glamour, but when you ask about their clubs, they all scoff and stammer and tell you it's all just a bunch of crazy theories. But the truth is they're all like vicious hawks, and their plans really aren't for you and I. It's to serve their dark overlord, the one with one eye, and fulfill their own agendas leading to the end, to control us all, to serve their lying friend. That's Lucifer, the prince of the powers of the air, who wants to take us all to hell, a torture without compare, and all he needs to do to bring us in is cater to our hearts, the wickedness within. His plans almost worked, except there's only one thing: the Alpha, the Omega, our one and true king has begun the process of opening people's eyes to the enemy's plots and how our lives have all been lies. Behind the curtain, you're doing monstrous things. Do you know behind the masks of masquerades or celebrities? There are witches. There are witches in Hollywood. Witches, all the witches. There are witches. There are witches in Hollywood. Witches, all the witches.
Eyes were shut, man, I'll keep them open. To see the pain and depravity, I'm just hoping. A glimpse of humanity, a beaming northern star. The guiding ethics, those in power have been subpar. Keep an eye out as the stars hide in the darkness. Through the Santa Clarita to the inland of Los Angeles. Open your eyes and look up to the sky. Truth will be a beacon, your courage will take flight. Support one another, school of fish can change the tide. Uplift one another, build a common civic pride. Life by yourself is a challenge on its own, so why not lean on your neighbor? It takes a village to make a home.
Yeah, Witches in Hollywood. Honestly, on my end, it's pretty self-explanatory, so I really don't need to, like, go that far in depth with it. You got any thoughts?
Well, it's probably the most mysterious song on the whole album to me. Like, you don't have the lyrics posted on here, so I can't really pick it apart like that.
Yeah, it's because a lot of the individual lyric sheets I decided to opt to have them as like bonus items for the album's download.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I'll try to find that later then.
Yeah.
Yeah, this song is a really good calm down from track 5. So yeah, you got the comeuppance with the interlude, you got the novus, and then this is like the best way to contrast it with like this piano ballad where you're wearing a tuxedo and the lights are dark and you're singing along to the piano playing and stuff. And that's kind of the vibe I got from it. But yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, I like the mood switch here. Yeah, the piano is really well done as well. Like it's very thorough. Thorough.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm wow, that's
What's there to say? What's there to say about Dr. Victorian?
Oh, Dr. Victorian, he's another like basically like I would say industrial experimental artist whom I'm very close with.
Right on.
Yeah, you may be familiar with his collaboration in my song Drone Escape off of Euphoricosis.
I'll need to dig on his discog in the future.
Yeah, he's put out like one debut album so far. I don't know what his plans are in the future for like future music or anything, but some of it's definitely worth like very much so worth checking out.
All right.
Some pretty cool stuff. Cool.
I like how his his vocal inflection is different, and it's a lot more reassuring as well.
Yeah.
We had a bunch of doom and gloom lyrics, and then he's out here, actually giving the plan.
You know what was funny is that was actually his idea, sort of, was to end the song off. Like, instead of just having completely depressing, like, doom and gloom, like, he wanted to end the song off on, like, some form of, like, an uplifting or positive note. And I left it that way because it just really worked, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it helps to the flow of the album as well, like, as the songs progress and stuff.
Yeah, it's almost like a...
So, not only is there, like, a genre variety, but there's a mood variety as well.
Yeah, almost kind of like a juxtaposing or, like, switching back and forth between, like, these various different kind of perspectives and ideas and, like, approaches, like, optimistic or pessimistic or what have you.
Right. And, you're also, putting a very strong Christian stance here, which, is very bold in its own way. And, this was a good, appropriate inclusion to that as well. After Delirious and Novus.
Yeah, thanks, man. I gotta be honest with you, there was a part of me that was, like, kind of sort of worried about, like, putting, like, my own actual, thoughts about, like, my beliefs and stuff into some of these songs, and, like, there was a part of me that was worried about it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a breaking the fourth wall type of thing.
Yeah, but at the same time, I've kind of learned to, like, not be ashamed. I'm not ashamed of my faith or anything like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the driving point in the end. Yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah. But anyway, aside from all that, I greatly, yeah, like, I guess there's not much else I can really say other than, thank you,
Yeah.
I definitely...
Well, we need to keep it condensed anyway, so...
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to waste too much of your time either, so we'll move on. This next track is,
cool.
Yeah, it's Feel My Hate, The Addresser. Alright.
Cool.
I don't wanna hate you anymore, but then all the lies that you stacked up, and all the minds that you jacked up. I know that God tells us forget, and this way anymore don't wanna live, but yet this anger burns inside, and day by day gets hard to hide. You're illuminated worldwide and enlightened. I hope that the sight of me makes you frightened, but I have a feeling like you won't care, unless my actions make the dark ones scared. We've all gotta be in this fight together, until our light makes them all feel weathered, and it begins to dribble and run, when they realize it's our kingdom come. If all you see is darkness and linger, then you might be in very great danger. But let me tell you, there is a way out. I'm telling you, it's to God you cry out. Stop, feel my name. Stop, feel my name. You give me better, you give me trust. You give me better, you give me trust. Stop, feel my name. Stop, feel my name. You give me better, you give me trust. You give me better, you give me trust. Stop, feel my name. Stop, feel my name. You give me better, you give me trust. You give me better, you give me trust. Stop, feel my name. Stop, feel my name. You give me better, you give me trust. You give me better, you give me trust.
All right. Thoughts, KJ?
Hello.
Yeah. Are you there? Hello?
I heard you off the stream. Hello.
Yeah. Hello?
Hello. Okay. I think we're together.
Okay, cool. So what'd you think?
It's a banger. Like, I have a playlist called PvP grind set where it's just full of tracks like that are up tempo, aggressive, both lyrically and with the instrument palette, and it helps me with the playing multiplayer PvP stuff and feeling more intense and upbeat and stuff. So that's my general takeaway from the song. It's like it's a banger.
Nice.
It's very high energy, and it's a good. Once again, it's a great switch up to how the album is flowing, and like it kind of starts here onward, where like every track is just so intense with the production and the energy, and yeah, it's hard to stop listening to it.
Yeah, I can I mean, hey, you know what? That yeah, again, it means a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, for the most part, yeah, I would kind of understand if like the very most somebody said would be like, yeah, it's a banger, like that shit slaps, like that's that sort of thing. Um, you know, pardon my French, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the usual compliments you would get, but like, yeah, I feel very attached to it, like just from the energy of it.
yeah. Well, I'm glad, man. I'm glad you could gravitate towards it in a personal way. To me, it's almost like the meaning of the just really quickly, and then we can move on. The meaning of the song generally is it's essentially like me kind of juggling between these ideas of like I don't necessarily want to be a hateful person, but yet like I feel like all this deep burning hatred inside of me, and like it's just kind of me wrestling with these two parts of myself.
Right. Like it's not fair to you that you have to keep suffering and keep the patience virtue and all that stuff. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So in that sense, I guess you could say it is also a pretty personal song for me too. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and that's the fun part of being a musician is, take all these personal burning feelings and then being able to turn it into, bangers.
yes, absolutely. All the bangers in the world, from our personal suffering. But yeah, so that is Feel My Hate.
Yeah.
You got anything else you want to
Same
say
kind
about?
of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, well, same kind of thing with the next track. There's obviously more of a story being told here, like the entire exposition of, uh, yeah. Let's just listen to it. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine, dude. You're fine. Yeah. Without further ado, this next song, I'm only gonna play like about half of it, so maybe like 3 minutes or so of it. But this is MK Ultra
Yeah.
GYNK. All right, here we go.
To control my brains when thought attacks driving me insane. It's been embedded inside of me all my life, being controlled by tears don't know about strife. Do you hear me, you wicked witches? One thing under your fearful of is truthful snitches, cause you're ghouls that like their business in the dark and are trying desperately to give everyone the mark of the beast. That's what I mean, to have everyone's souls be made unclean, to take ownership over their wicked kind. But the first thing you need was control of the mind. You experiment on citizens, innocent ones, unknown persons who you gave drugs. Change your mind and alter their perception, not to just show completely for one exception. Use them for your ends and make them your slaves, to work themselves to death for you to their graves, and ensnare them into Satan's brain plan to bring their souls down with the bring the fall of created man. Subliminal messaging and various triggers can make influence on the mind, but to places far bigger than our wildest dreams. We've been under attack for a long time, so now it's time to take it all back. Ultra, you control us again. Even this melody is a program we're all hearing again. It's bringing our minds on this brainwashing mess. It's like a bronze way of controlling our brains with unfathomable stress. Even so, our position remains. We're fed up with being controlled for your own selfish gains. Bring others down while you beat yourselves up. How many times do I have to say this before it's finally stuck? Struggling to fight, but we won't surrender to the darkness they wield. Our spirit stands strong, our destiny's sealed. As dawn breaks night, a glimmer of hope. We gather our strength, no longer on the tightrope, breaking the chains that held us so long, awakening souls with a courage so strong. Their whispers may linger, their plots we uncover. Unite we stand, my sisters and brothers. No more pawns in their sinister game. We rise from the ashes, we're claiming our name. With truth as our armor, we bow the lies, defying the puppeteers and shattering their ties. MK Ultra's grip loosens fame from sight, in the blaze of our unity, the face endless night. No longer there's so much no longer confined. We seize back our minds, leaving darkness behind. We are the warriors, the keepers of light. Die by strength in this courageous fight. We stand as beacons in the depths of the night, igniting the truth when our yielding night. Their fortress of life trembles under our gaze as dawn paints the sky with hope's brilliant blaze. N K K G G N N K K G G N N K K G G N N K K.
Alright, I think that's all we're gonna listen to for now, of that song, just simply for the sake of time. And also, if you guys want to check out the full thing, links are literally everywhere. You can find it anywhere. But anyway, yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, banger.
Absolute banger.
Like,
No, I'm just kidding.
absolute banger. Like, I don't know. Like, it's easy to squash a song like that into like a 2-minute, 3-minute diddle, but once again, you're putting in the effort to make a thorough experience with it. Like, you have a bunch of extended verses, you have the beat going on, you pull no punches with the beat. It makes it feel very classic, like very, very sure of itself. And here's another. The other fun story with that is with the Flamingo Fest. It was a 6-hour drive there, 6-hour drive back. So um, I was with the Sky Yamaha. We were driving together, and yeah, I showed her this album, and yeah, she was into it, like
Wait, what?
especially with songs like these.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Sky Yamaha listened to this record?
Yes, yes, and
Dude, there's
she
no
loved
way.
it.
That's so cool, man. Well, I'm glad she liked it, man.
Me too. Like, it was cool. Like, I showed her a lot of music that I've been vibing with, and my music too, and she shared me some too as well. But unfortunately, I dominated most of the aux chord. I kind of feel bad about that, but yeah, good timing. Good timing with Flamingo Fest and the album release and stuff like that. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
and yeah, Sky Yamaha is an Arizonan. She's part of the Desert Dreams Collective. She performed in my first concert, and yeah, she's part of the crew.
that's awesome, man. Well, tell her I said hi, and tell her I said thank you, like, once again for like checking some of it out. And...
Yes. And yeah, shout out to Sky Yamaha. Her work is amazing. Like, she does a lot as well, both with the music and her visual stuff as well. So
yeah, seriously, shout out Sky Yamaha.
She deserves all the love. Yeah. And yeah, it kind of starts with here, like actually not this song in particular. This song felt like Run the Jewels song, actually.
Wait, really?
Like, they're very, yeah, I feel like it. Like, they're constantly name dropping themselves. They're confident in themselves like that. And yeah, you got GY and K going on this whole time. And at first I kind of laughed at that. At first I was kind of annoyed by that, but once the song really got grooving, I really got into it, and now I love it. So yeah.
Well, you know, I'm sorry, what?
Little risk and reward there.
Yeah, and it was actually something that, like, I kind of was wondering if I should, like, keep in the song too. Like, because he's like just sort of gassing himself up or whatever. But the funny thing is that it more or less is trying to play.
By all means, like, yeah, gas yourself up.
But honestly, a lot of it was more or less just like me kind of working in the concept of Gynk and everything juxtaposed with the sort of like MK Ultra sort of mind control sort of stuff. So basically, like, the idea of Gynk almost being like some form of like a program, basically, that's like being instilled in a weird sort of way. There's a lot to it, and I could go on literally all day. So I'll just leave it simply
I
as...
kind of did a similar thing. I did a similar thing with my third album. Trying to make more of a character out of KJ VALIUM and stuff. Like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, let me know how that goes. That sounds really interesting. I wonder what kind of a character you're gonna come up with.
No, like, my third album, the one I made in 2017.
Oh, you already did. Okay, I'm stupid. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's still kind of loose and up in the air, especially with how I'm doing things differently now. But it's something I do want to go back on. Like, what's the lore? What's the mysterious element of having a character instead of just it being just a simple art name or whatever. So,
yeah,
cool.
As you've probably been able to kind of notice, if there's two things that I can genuinely say, like, I really love, that's mystery and, like, lore and, like, different concepts and stuff like that, like, just interesting concepts, and yeah.
Cool.
All right. Yeah, so not to waste any more time, I don't know, should we even play some of these instrumental tracks, or should we just, like, maybe skip to...
I'll just say that they're worth listening to on your own time. I really like how creative you are with the instrumental tracks. Obviously, you're coming from a beat-driven dance origin, but I just like how you keep pushing life into it by throwing in other instruments, by flipping up the script. And that happens with the Power of Relief. It happens with I think number 10 is my favorite track.
It is?
I'll tell you that. Yes. Out of the whole album, number 10 is the best for me. That's the one that I enjoy the most.
Thank you, KJ. I'm glad you like it, man.
Yeah, and like there's you put a lot of effort into this whole album, and I really feel it.
Well, at the very least, I'm just glad that my effort wasn't in vain.
Well, it never is. Like, even when I was making music 2016 to 2018, and I only had like a handful of people listening to it, there's a filtration that happens. Some people listen to some of it, some people listen to most of it, some people actually get what you're trying to convey and stuff. Like, there's still reason and purpose to make this stuff and publish this stuff, but the music business aspect of it is just a whole different ballpark.
Oh, it's
Sure.
it's definitely a whole other beast. Yeah, I can't even say that. It's like, oh man, the business side of things is freaking nightmarish.
Right, and then that whole struggle goes back into the music production in a fun way.
Exactly. So it's like a never-ending cycle of like, pain and release.
Yeah, like I'll go off topic again, but working conceptualizing the Pacific trilogy the way it is, like, it took a lot of limiting factors. Like, before I was just making music the way I wanted it to be heard. Like, I wasn't paying attention to mixing and mastering and what the studio specifics are and how to form that into a physical release and stuff. And changing up the palette and changing up the canvas ended up being something enjoyable for me. But yeah, it definitely is. It definitely does change up how you produce a track in the end.
Oh, absolutely. I think the approach, can make a very big difference in how the expression of the art is, put out there, like, I don't know. I know it's like a very
and I was
simple,
afraid of that.
I know it's a very simple, generalized sort of way of putting it, but like, I guess like perspective is everything in a way, and like the perspective that you have, towards like what it is that you're doing, what it is you're making, etc., can make the biggest difference. And sometimes, like you said, you did with some of your stuff, like changing it up, switching up the overall like approach and the direction, or like even the methods that you use to like make it can sometimes be like really refreshing in that sense.
Yeah, and it's refreshing that there's a better audience now than before. Shout out to the vaporwave community. I may not entirely be a vaporwave producer, but there's no other place where I could really express like being an experimental electronic dude, and they're actually being audience and community for it. So
yeah, for real. Yeah, like the definitely like shout out to the vaporwave community, shout out to vapor adjacent styles and genres, and like the a lot of people.
That's a key term there. Vapor adjacent. Like,
yeah,
obviously I've had my influences before, but they were very loose. Like, now that I've been better acquainted with the community, I could kind of be more specific about what I like about vaporwave, what sounds I could employ from it, how to make it all more accessible and more fun.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the fun of it like comes from like figuring out like new ways that you can convey these like ideas or these sounds and genres, and you know, like it.
Yeah.
I think like definitely taking a personal approach towards your music in general is what I would say would be like kind of the biggest rule of thumb to go off of when it comes to making anything. You know, is like just ultimately like trust your gut, trust what it is that like you want to do with it personally, you know, and kind of just double down on that, like, because
Yeah, and yeah, there's plenty of people that want to make vaporwave music, but they don't know how to personalize it or make it actually sound convincing or interesting. But yeah,
which
that happens everywhere.
Which, I mean, it's not to say that there's necessarily anything inherently wrong to me about, like, you know, classic vapor or anything like that, but, like, I think after a while, you know, it helps to have a little bit more, like, variety, to have a little bit more of, like, something new to kind of work off of and listen to, and...
Yeah, and I bring it up regarding to these instrumental tracks because I could definitely see, like, how you're just bringing in a different technique and a different mashup, and it just keeps it interesting to satisfy the length, to kind of justify the length of these tracks, which is really cool. And you know, I have to do the same kind of thing when I'm making like 20-minute, 30-minute, 40-minute, 2-hour long track.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The 50-hour long drone track.
I do want to make a drone concert sometime. I don't know how that would work, but yeah,
that would be pretty cool, actually. It'd be cool to see that.
Just bring your sleeping bag and bring your pillow.
Yeah, if I'm gonna
you're in for a trip.
I'm gonna bring all my camping gear.
Right.
Well, anyway, the next song that I'm going to play, I'm gonna skip a couple of these instrumental ones again. Like, thank you again for your compliments towards them and everything, by the way. But just
they're definitely worth listening to.
Yeah, thank you, man. So go ahead and go check those out as soon as you're done watching this, or just whenever, you know, you'd like to. But yeah, those Power of Relief and Spiralum Numerous, 2 other tracks. Unfortunately, again, for the sake of time, can't listen to them right now, but, I'm going to lead it off into, Long Time, and then after that, Closure, and then, did you want to do the bonus song, or do you think you're not gonna have time?
I haven't listened to that enough to really say anything about it, so
Okay.
Since it's only available on YouTube, so you know, sorry to disappoint, but yeah, I've mostly been listening to it on Spotify, like all streaming platforms. It's available anyway.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The main reason being is because Wasting Time was like meant to be like an exclusive bonus track to Bandcamp. Which, by the way, if you want to download this song, download the album on Bandcamp. Seriously.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yes. And even though I do have it on Bandcamp, I still want to listen to it on Spotify just to gas up the numbers.
Oh, dude, I appreciate you, seriously. Like, it helps me so much, and like I just can't even express my gratitude properly.
Right.
But yeah. Anyways, again, I'm wasting time. Wasting time. This next track is Long Time, featuring Junjin, which Junjin is the guy that helps me run New Odyssey. Anyway, Long Time featuring Junjin. What do you think, KJ?
This oh, this was all part of a sample manipulation, right?
Yeah.
Was it a
Yes.
sample or did you produce it all?
Um.
It's a sample.
So it is a sample manipulation with a lot of the beat and compositional stuff. Like, so basically, it's a sample with like
Yeah,
compositional elements on top of it.
yeah. And I threw in that shade about some vaporwave producers just, you know, doing one or two edits with the sample and leaving it at that. Because, this is a good example of like being able to take a sample and just blowing it up to something else through, actual dedication and wanting to make a product you're proud about. Because there's a lot of there's a lot of looping with it, lots of there's a lot of layering, and top it off, like on this second half of the album, you throw a beat on top of it, which is crazy. Like, yeah, I that was really cool. Like, this is how you should treat sample music.
Well, thanks, man. I don't know, like with this, I guess with this album in particular, like, I figured if I was going to use sample material in any sense, like I wanted to do it in a way that it kind of felt like I was more or less trying to make something entirely new, with, out of like the song. Basically, like I'm not just like ripping off the song and like that's all there is to it. Like I wanted to show that, like, I don't know, like I kind of wanted to make the songs in a way in which they could kind of be constructive and sort of like, stand at least a little bit differently from its original source material, while also kind of
Yeah,
paying
and if
like
you
a little bit of respect to that.
yeah, and with the remix I did of Novus, I went back to the sample roots as well, and the best way that you have something good is like if you go into it with no expectations, and you kind of find out what you're doing with the song right
Yeah.
as you're done making it. It's like you don't know what you're doing until it's done, and then it's like, oh, there it is.
Oh, absolutely. I think that, like, for me personally, like going into every project like almost blind, like creatively and stuff like that, has actually helped me a lot more in like coming up with
Yeah,
ideas and like, doing new refreshing sort of things. Because like, you know, uh, one thing I began to realize that if you become like too hyper focused on like the perfection, or whatever, like the sound and stuff like that, or whatever it is that you're going for, it can actually subsequently, without you, whether you intend to or not, it can actually like kind of kill your creativity a little bit. So you have to like give yourself a little bit
yeah,
of room to sort of like, have some error, or like have some, wiggle room, I guess.
yeah. Like, uh, if you like, I make experimental music, and if you're coming at me saying that my music is weird and it's hard to listen to, I would agree with you. But it takes a couple. Sometimes I make something so strange that I don't know why I did that, and then I just leave it at that, and then I listen to it like a week or two later, and it's like, oh, this actually is kind of good now.
Yeah, like, and honestly, I have those kinds of adjustments with some of my music as well. Like, to be honest with you, for the most part, I really, like, I joke around and I say things here and there or whatever, but like I don't really have that great of a perspective on my own music, I guess. Like, I wouldn't exactly say
Right.
that, like, it's not that I don't like it or that I don't enjoy it. I mean, if I didn't enjoy it, then I wouldn't be doing it, you know what I mean? But like,
Yeah, you
it,
just gotta trust the process.
yeah, but like,
That's the phrase.
I just think that ultimately, like, I wouldn't necessarily like tell anybody that I think that my music is like really good either, though. Like, if they think that, then it's 100% appreciated and I understand it and everything. But like, I don't know, I'm kind of hard on myself in that sense.
Yeah, and that's a struggle. Like, that's part of what led to my downfall. Is just like I somewhere along the way I lost the confidence in myself, and I couldn't. I wasn't lying to myself, but it was like I couldn't uh push myself through the doubting period anymore. Because doubting period is like that's the process of it all, and being able to overcome that is what's important, and being able to publish something that you're proud of.
Yeah, and I've noticed that like a lot of genuinely great, like creative minds and stuff. I've noticed that like I've noticed that a great deal of like, great creative people tend to like have struggles with that sort of doubt, or like, basically like being their own worst critics. Um
Right.
yeah, like especially the ones that like are like very humble about it, and um it's something that I see quite a bit. But then again, to me, what that shows me more than anything is it shows like a like some level of like awareness, you know what I mean, that they have about like their work and themselves, and everything, to the point to where like in a way they don't like want to elevate themselves higher than they feel they should be, or it's almost, it's like very respectable and commendable in a way to me. When somebody is like incredibly talented, but yet they still, are incredibly humble about it, and just genuine. I don't know.
Well, there's a balance to it. Like, you don't want to be too self-depreciative, but you also don't want to be super conceited about it either.
Yeah, exactly.
And, yeah, there's. All right, let's do this last song.
Yeah.
Gotta wrap it up soon.
Yeah. No, I understand, man. Okay, so we're gonna do. Is it okay if we do closure and wasting time, or would you rather just like end it with wasting time?
I'd rather just end it with closer, to be honest.
Oh yeah, that's fine. And more or less, if you want to, you can go ahead and check out the track later, and whatnot.
Right.
Yeah. Especially considering you bought it, and so, which, by the way, thank you for the support once again. From that, trust me, I wasn't expecting it. So that meant a lot to me.
I'm doing my part.
Yeah, man. Well, believe me when I tell you it's appreciated. I'm not just saying that, but anyway. Without further ado, just to kind of wrap it up, and so I'm not wasting any more of your time. This is Closure. This could be the last song that we're gonna do. With that being said, yeah, Closure featuring number 13. I guess that's how it's pronounced, but yeah. And 13. Let's do it.
All to give me closure, and this is bliss.
All right, that's the last track that we're gonna be checking out. You have any final thoughts, KJ?
You're a great rapper.
Oh, thanks,
Like,
man.
I've been, I've been, for my third album, I have 2 hip hop songs with PK Skyler and Lil Jackson. They both do features on there. So I've been kind of analyzing hip hop more, making that more of an avenue for me. So, today is Danny Brown Day, so I got to listen to that too, and it's just like you got the same skill set. Like you're definitely you got the chops for it. So I think this is the best example of that in this last song, and definitely a beautiful way to close the album. Not in like you don't do like a little ambient outro. You kind of end it with a good positive bang. So cool.
Nice, man. Thank you.
And that's the album.
Yes, sir. Yeah, just really quick before I let you go.
Yep.
While I appreciate the compliment about me being a great rapper and everything like that, I don't necessarily know if like I would like call myself like a good rapper, simply because it's not like I could bust out a freestyle out of nowhere,
Yeah,
and like
I'm not a rapper. Yeah, I get it. Like, yeah, it's a vocal technique, and you definitely jump around with all the different stuff, and yeah, you're not fully fundamentally stuck in hip hop. So yeah, I understand that.
But it does mean a lot though that you think that at the very least the flows and stuff are good. So well, thank you, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and also thank you once again for joining me tonight. I know that like this was very long, and believe me, I appreciate you for coming on. I do. Thank you.
And being able to do talk show stuff about music has been something that I've always wanted to do. So thanks for the opportunity to start that up.
Absolutely, man. And hey, I'd do it again. I definitely don't mind, dude. Sorry.
Sounds good.
Did you have something else you wanted to say? I'm sorry.
I think I've said it. I've said plenty like throughout the whole thing. So I'm
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of tired now. So
Yeah, no, I understand.
nothing more
Man.
to say.
All right, well, I'm gonna let you
Nothing
go.
more to say tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll end it here. I'll go ahead and let you go. I'll let all of you go as well. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you again, KJ Valium, for coming on, and sharing some of your thoughts with us tonight. And yeah, I look forward to doing this again, and I look forward to all future ventures. Best of luck to you, KJ, with everything.
Thanks for making a great album. Keep doing that.
Well, thanks, man, and thank you for listening to and enjoying it. Sincerely.
Yeah. All right. Have a good night.
All right, you too, man. Thank you. All right, have a good night, everyone. Peace.